So this is your general block diagram of a transmitter, which is also known as a low level modulation transmitters. Here you have your signal or information signal or modulating signal. This information signal is applied to a modulator. Low level modulator means without any amplifiers, or if at all you are using amplifiers, they are linear amplifiers only. Linear amplifiers only we'll be using. And then we'll have one oscillator also along with it. An oscillator also we'll be using. So a information signal and a carrier signal are applied to an A modulator. This is a modulator. So before modulation, we are not having sufficient amount of power. The power levels are low only. So it is a low level modulator. Then once the signal, modulated signal is available here at the output of the modulator, say if my signal is present, AM signal is present, then I can boost the signal strength with the help of a amplifier, and then that amplifier will raise the level of the signal strength to a desired value, 1 watt or 10 watts or 1 kilowatt or 100 kilowatts or 1 megawatts, depending on that. Then that signal will be radiated with the help of an antenna. This is your antenna. So that modulated carrier with power rise to a desired value is transmitted over the antenna in the form of electromagnetic energy. This is your electromagnetic energy radiated into the free space. So this is your low level modulation. So the aim takes place at low level or low powers only. Low level means low power levels. And then the linear amplifiers are a chain of linear amplifiers that are used after modulation are, these are the types of modulators. A comma A B or B. What is the meaning of this? Anybody? A comma A B comma B.
Class
Chain
A,
of linear.
Class AB, Class B. Power
I have
and
not mentioned them as class A, class B, class C. They are class A or class AB or class B power amplifiers. Where class A power amplifier is a linear power amplifier which operates for the entire 360 degrees of the input cycle. Class AB operates between 180 to 360 degrees, and class B operates for less than 180 degrees, less than 180 degrees of the input cycle. So these are all linear amplifiers. They are considered as a linear amplifier almost. So any such linear amplifier can be used as a power amplifier in our case in the block diagram. One of the power amplifiers you can choose, and then can be used as a power amplifier in my transmitter or in our transmitters, low power AM transmitters. So this is the general block diagram of a low level or low power level AM transmitters. So this is a AM modulator low level power amplifier. The earlier one is the general block diagram. This is the actual block diagram. When you construct a antenna, these are the various parts. So this section is your RF section, and this section is your AF section. This is your audio frequency section. This is your RF section, radio frequency section. So for RF section, you need an oscillator, RF oscillator. Generally, most of the oscillators, as I told you in the last class, are AF oscillators only, are HF oscillators only, high frequency oscillators only. But if you want to generate radio frequency signal, you have to use frequency multipliers or harmonic generators. Harmonic generators are frequency multipliers. So we produce these RF oscillations from a stable oscillators. From a stable oscillators. What is the meaning of stable oscillator? 4C3. 4C3. Veda.
Yes, sir.
What is a stabilized oscillator?
Uh,
Stabilized oscillator means what? Anybody in the class? Providing constant oscillations. Stabilized oscillation is the one that provides constant oscillations. So, can you elaborate that? Explain more about it. Good, correct. Without distortions in the amplitudes. Anything more you want to add?
It will not
Good.
change with
Good.
climatic conditions.
It should not change with the ambient conditions. It should not change with the temperature of the room, and then it should not change with the time also, aging also. If you are designing a transmitter today, it should function tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and after 1 year, after 2 years, after 5 years also. With respect to aging, the oscillations produced from this oscillator must be stable. Similarly, with respect to load current variations or fluctuations also should be stable. So here stable oscillations means fixed or constant oscillations with respect to load variations, with respect to temperature variations, with respect to the aging. So you have to choose one such oscillator which can produce stable oscillations as this first block. Then it should be applied to a buffer amplifier. Have you heard this name, buffer amplifier, anytime? Buffer amplifier. Anybody? Buffer amplifier. Buffer amplifier is nothing but an isolating amplifier. It has high input impedance and low output impedance, and it acts as a buffer between the oscillator and the rest of the circuits, rest of the blocks. It is a buffer between the oscillator circuit and the rest of the blocks. So that is your buffer amplifier. So the function of the buffer amplifier is to isolate the rest of the blocks, isolate all these blocks from the isolator oscillator in the forward, in the return direction. Say you have the two directions. This is the direction in which the signal is traveling. This is the direction in which the signal is traveling in the forward direction. And this is the direction in which the signal is traveling in the opposite direction. So this isolator buffer amplifier will allow the signal in this direction, in the forward direction. So whatever oscillations you have from this oscillator will be traveling via this buffer amplifier to the modulator and the rest of the blocks. Whereas if you have any mismatch, because of the load, who is that? Somebody is talking. Please mute your microphones, all of you. Okay. So in the return direction, if there is any signal coming in the opposite direction, in this direction, then that signal should not reach the oscillator. If this return signal reaches the oscillator, what will happen is it spoils the oscillations. It spoils the oscillations. Then you may not be able to produce stable oscillations. So in order to protect your oscillator, we need a buffer amplifier. So buffer amplifier is an isolating amplifier that isolates the oscillator circuit from the rest of the blocks in the return direction, not in the forward direction. In the forward direction, oscillator is coupled to the rest of the blocks, whereas in the if there is any reflected signal, if there is any reflected current, return currents, that return current should not reach the oscillator because they spoil the oscillations of the stable oscillator. So in order to protect your oscillator, we need a buffer amplifier. And an example of a buffer amplifier is either class A or class B. Generally, we will be using class B as a power amplifier. Class B power amplifier as a buffer amplifier in most of the blocks. Class B is generally preferred buffer amplifier. Also, we will be using this class B power amplifier as another purpose. It has a second purpose, class B. That is, it can be used as a frequency multiplier. Class B can also be used as a frequency multiplier, or other name for frequency multiplication or frequency multiplier is harmonic generator. Another name is harmonic generator. So harmonic generator are class B power amplifier or frequency multiplier. They multiply the incoming frequency by a factor x. Say x can be 2, 4, 5, 6, any number. So it multiplies the incoming frequency by that factor, whereby you can increase the HF frequency to RF frequency at its output. That is the function of this block. Any question on this block? Buffer amplifier? Why it is there? What is the function of this one? Buffer amplifier is an isolating amplifier in the opposite direction, the return direction. It isolates the oscillator from the rest of the circuits in the opposite, when the opposite currents are flowing. Second one is it can also be used as a frequency multiplier to increase the HF frequency to RF frequency. Just by multiplication, you can convert HF frequency to a RF frequency. This is about the RF section. Then you have your AF section. The below bottom side chain is a AF chain of blocks. So first one is audio modulating signal. So this audio modulating signal could be your sound signal, a voice signal, or a music signal. This music signal or audio signal can be converted into a electrical signal with the help of a microphone, and then that is applied to a audio processing and filtering circuit, whereby if there is any unwanted noise, you can filter out the unwanted noise and you can improve the signal to noise ratio of this converted electrical signal. Then the signal strength is amplified to a sufficient level where a modulator can be operated. So we'll be increasing the strength of this electrical signal after processing to a level where it can operate a modulator. So this is your AF chain, this is your RF chain. Both are applied to a modulator. So modulator is a 2-input device and a single output device. It has 2 inputs and a single output. This amplitude modulator modulates the signal in terms of carrier signal in terms of amplitude and produces a AM wave at its output. So here is your amplitude modulated carrier. At the output of the modulator, we have amplitude modulated carrier. Can anybody give me the expression for AM signal? AM. Anybody? Recently you have written your first mid exams also.
C of t equals to AC cos 2 pi FCT plus or minus 5.
That is your C of t. C of t means carrier signal.
Carrier signal.
I am asking AM signal. Carrier is different, AM is different. AM is amplitude modulated. So now you have expressed C of t is equal to some AC cos omega ct or cos 2 pi fct. So after modulation, that AC must be changed. The amplitude of the carrier signal must be modulated. So it is AC plus AM cos omega mt. That is your amplitude part. This whole multiplied by cos omega ct. That is your AM signal. AM signal is equal to AC. I don't know whether you remember all these things or not. A suffix AC plus AM okay, note down. It is AC plus AM within the AM cos omega mt within the brackets multiplied by AC cos omega ct. That is your AM signal, amplitude modulated signal, or it consists of a carrier signal plus upper sideband plus lower sideband. AC cos omega ct plus AC AM by 2 m times AC AM by 2 cos omega c plus omega m and cos omega c minus omega m. Upper sideband and a lower sideband you'll have, and that is your AM signal. So you have a amplitude modulated signal at the output of the modulator, and then that is applied to a linear amplifiers. Just now we have seen the various linear amplifiers. Can you give me the example of various linear amplifiers? Class A, Class B and Class AB are the linear amplifiers. Here you will use one of these linear amplifiers, and then again, if the amount of power required to operate an antenna is not sufficient, then we will increase the power by chain of such power amplifiers. Chain of such power amplifiers. So this is the general block diagram of a low level AM modulator. Low level AM modulator. I'll repeat. I'll remove all these things and then I'll come back to this. So it consists of a stabilized oscillator, class A buffer amplifier, which is also acting as a isolating amplifier and frequency multiplier. Then we have a modulator, we have a linear amplifier, we have power amplifier. Then the other input to this modulator is from audio frequency signal, which is to be transmitted from the transmitting end to the receiving. This is the signal of our interest, which is to be transmitted. This is a carrier that is carrying my signal, voice signal. So these two are modulated in amplitude modulation and are sent, and then you have your transmitted signal via an antenna into the free space. This is your low level modulation. Low level modulation. This is the block diagram. So in the examination, if you are asked to draw the block diagram of a low level AM modulator and explain its operation, then what you have to do is, first you have to draw a neat block diagram, this one, then explain out each block with a subheading. Stabilized RF oscillator. Then put a subheading and explain its functions. Why this oscillator is there. The function of each block present in this block diagram should be explained. Then the next subheading should be buffer amplifiers. What are buffer amplifiers? What is the purpose of a buffer amplifier? And which amplifier can be used as a buffer amplifier? All those things you should explain. Then audio frequency. Then this AF signal, modulating signal, is applied to a microphone. You have to explain about the microphone, how it is a transducer, how it is converting the physical signal into a sound signal. You should explain 1 or 2 lines, and then processing to improve the signal to noise ratio, SNR. And then you have your AF amplifier to amplify the level of this audio frequency signal to such a value that it can operate this modulator. Only to that level, if you can improve the signal strength, that is sufficient for it. If it is in microvolts or nanovolts, it should be improved to a few millivolts or few volts, such that it can operate a modulator. And then after that, you will have a AM signal at its output. Then explain about the modulator. It is a AM modulator. We have 2 types of AM modulators. One is a switching modulator, another one is a square law modulator, and you can choose either square law modulator or switching modulator. For this purpose, AM modulator. And then linear amplifiers, class A or class B or class AB. Generally, in low level modulation, we prefer using class A power amplifiers. So you have a chain of power amplifiers if the power is not sufficient. If power is sufficient, we'll use only one amplifier. If the power is not sufficient, we'll use cascaded power amplifiers to improve the level of the signal strength to a desired value, to a rated value. This is about it. And then the output of the power amplifier is a high frequency, high power signal, which is applied to a antenna. Antenna is nothing but a pair of wires or a conductor, which converts the high frequency carrier signal into electromagnetic energy. So it is a transducer converting one form of energy to another form. The form of energy at the input is high frequency currents. The form of output from this transducer antenna is electromagnetic energy. This electromagnetic energy is radiated in the direction of the receiving antenna. It is radiated with the help of a directive antenna towards the direction of the receiver. This is about the low level modulation. Any questions on this? Do you have any question? Okay, very good question. I'm expecting this. And then who is this? What is your name? Abram. Appreciating Abram. So Anybody, Abhiram has a question. What is the need of a linear amplifier? Right. Let me not waste the time. Linear amplifier. Here, why we are using linear amplifier is my information signal is placed on the carrier signal in the amplitude fluctuations. My information is present in the amplitude fluctuations. If I am not using a linear amplifier, if I am using a non-linear amplifier, what will happen is the shape of the AM signal will be changed. The shape of the AM signal will be distorted. And if the shape is distorted at the transmitting end itself, then if I transmit that distorted signal to the receiver, at the receiver, if you try to recover the original signal, you may not be able to recover the actual signal, the original signal, AF signal. You will be recovering a distorted signal only. Where is this distortion happening? This distortion has happened only at the transmitter itself, not in the channel, not in the transmission, but in the transmitter. Before sending it towards the receiver itself, you have distorted the signal, unfortunately. So that should be avoided because my information is present in the amplitude fluctuations. I should not use an amplifier that distorts the amplitude portion with the y-axis part. So always linear amplifiers only to be used in AM transmitters. If it is a FM transmitter, then the information is placed in the frequency fluctuations of the RF signal. All the information is present in the this AF will be sitting in the frequency variations of this oscillator. So if the amplitude is changed also, because my information is not present along the amplitude axis, therefore I can use non-linear amplifiers in the case of FM transmitters. But whenever you are using AM transmitters, always go for linear amplifiers only to avoid distortion. So in the exam, if it is given, the purpose of the linear amplifier also you should clearly mention. If you can write down one or two sentences that it produces linear amplification only, then you'll get good marks. You can get full marks. Very good question. Any more questions? Is it clear, Abhiram? Any more questions? If there are none, we'll go for the next topic. Next one is, okay, here I have explained about each of these blocks. I have clearly explained here itself, but in the slides they are given separately. RF oscillator produces the carrier, it produces stable oscillations. It is generally produced by a crystal because crystal is supposed to produce the stable oscillations with respect to time, frequency, and then load variations. We cannot use LC oscillator because they have low frequency stability. So all these things, whatever I have explained, is given, and then operation also I have explained. Then this is one more AM block diagram. This is one more AM block diagram. See, the previous one is in one of the standard textbooks. This is in one of the standard textbooks. I have referred so many textbooks. This is there in another prescribed textbook only. So this is also correct. The previous one also correct. Both are correct only. So what is the difference? Let us see, try to find out the difference. Do we have RF oscillator, buffer amplifier, then power amplifiers, chain of power amplifiers? Yes, it is the same. It is applied to a modulator. This is your RF cycle. And then we have our AF chain of blocks, modulating signal, then a band pass filter, a pre-amplifier to amplify the signal strength, and then the modulating signal driver. These are all nothing but the linear amplifiers to improve the signal strength to operate a modulator. So up to this point, both are same only. Then after modulation, you have a band pass filter because you may be interested in only a particular band of frequencies. So you know your range of frequencies present in the modulated signal. All your signals are present between FC plus FM to FC minus FM, where FC is the carrier frequency. Your upper sideband will be extending from FC to FC plus FM, and your lower sideband will be from FC to FC minus FM. So that is the range of frequencies. So we will use a band pass filter which transmits this range of frequencies only. That is, the lower band of the band pass filter should be FC minus FM, and the upper band of the band pass filter must be, that allows this range of frequencies, must be FC plus FM. So these are the two cutoff frequencies. Lower cutoff frequency is FC minus FM, upper cutoff frequency is FC plus FM. So those frequencies are allowed through the band pass filter, so that we are limiting the amount of noise. The rest of the noise we are eliminating here itself. Then we use intermediate power amplifiers. So we will be doing this in 2 or 3 stages. We will not get the required power in a single stage. We use chain of power amplifiers. So we are using a intermediate power amplifiers, which will boost the signal strength by a factor 2 or 3. Let us say the gain of this is 2 or 3, and then that is applied to a final power amplifier, which again in turn will amplify or boost the signal strength by a factor 5 or 10 or 15, depending on the design that we do for this amplifier. So these are chain of power amplifiers which we have in the previous one. So this is the addition to the previous one to limit the amount of noise. And again, after modulation also, we are once again limiting the signal strength signal to a desired range of frequencies, FC minus FM to FC plus FM, a band of frequencies. Again, the reason for doing so is if there are any noises added because of these power amplifiers, that noise can be eliminated, and only the interested portion of the signal FC minus FM to FC plus FM will be transmitted. Then we have a coupling network. This is mandatory. A coupling network is a matching device that matches the antenna impedance with the output impedance of this band pass filter. The output impedance of the band pass filter is say Z, and if the antenna input impedance is ZA, let us say ZA. If Z is not exactly equal to ZA, then as per our maximum power transfer theorem states that maximum power will be delivered to the load from the source if and only if the source impedance and load impedance are properly matched, if they are complex conjugate to each other. If ZS, the source impedance is equal to ZL complex conjugate, then maximum power will be transferred. So if it is say 75 ohms here, let us say the output of the band pass filter impedance is 75 ohms and the antenna impedance is 377 ohms, let us say it is 377 ohms. Then we use a coupling network to match this 50 ohms with the 377 ohms. The output impedance of the band pass filter 50 ohms we are trying to match with 377 ohms. If this network is not there, then some part of the signal will be absorbed by the antenna and will be radiated into the free space, and the remaining part of the energy will be reflected back and will be reaching back to the oscillator, and it spoils the oscillations if the buffer amplifier is not there. So in order to match the impedance of the output of the last stage with the input of the antenna, we need a coupling network. This is a impedance matching network, an impedance matching network. So here we are using the maximum power transfer theorem, which we have studied earlier. Maximum power transfer theorem states that maximum power will be delivered to the load from the source if the source impedance and load impedance are complex conjugate to each other. They are complex conjugate to each other. If it is pure resistances, instead of impedances, if you are impedances, then RL must be equal to RS. Load resistance must be equal to source resistance. So 377 ohms of the antenna must be the same as this one. Generally, antenna, the free space impedance is 377 ohms. Antenna will have 50 ohms or 75 ohms only generally. So proper matching will be happening. Otherwise, we need a additional network to match the output impedance with the antenna impedance. So this is based on the impedance that is available at the load impedance at the output of the transmitter, and then that impedance should be properly matched with the antenna impedance. For that, we use a coupling network. Except this, everything is the same. Here we have used a preamplifier. So you can see a preamplifier is nothing but a voltage amplifier. Instead of power amplifier, we use a voltage amplifier with high input impedance. Why we require a high input impedance? High input impedance devices, any high input impedance device can be used as a buffer amplifier. So this also can be seen as a buffer amplifier. This pre-amplifier not only is a voltage amplifier, but it is also a buffer amplifier, so that if any reflections are there, the source is protected. The source signal is protected with the help of this buffer amplifier because of its high input impedance. So this is about it. And then this modulating signal driver is again an amplifier which amplifies the signal level adequately to operate this modulator. That is sufficiently enough to operate the modulator. That's all. So this block diagram is the same as the previous one. So you can draw either the previous one or this one as per your choice. Only thing is you should be able to explain each of the blocks present with subheading. If you can explain all these blocks, you draw this block diagram. If you cannot draw, if you cannot explain this coupling network bandpass filters sufficiently well, then go back to the previous one. It is your choice, and I'll be sharing this presentation later by the end of this class. So operation again, whatever I have explained is there. Then coupling network, it matches the output impedance of the final amplifier to the transmission line or the antenna. That is the purpose of this. Now, where do we use this low level transmitters? Wherever you have low power, low capacity requirements are there for a transmitter, we use this. So, where do you have this low power, low capacity requirements for your transmitter? Example is wireless intercoms. Wherever you are using wireless intercoms, people are using wireless intercoms also in the offices. You are working in Infosys, Tata, Wipros, then you find this wireless intercoms, and they use this type of transmitters. And in all remote controls, they use amplitude modulation transmitters, and the level is very low, low power. Low level means low power level AM transmitters. Phasers nowadays we are not using. Up to 2003, phasers were there, but today phasers they disappeared from the communication system itself. So though it is an example, nobody is using. Earlier in 2002 up to 2002-3, we used phasers for SMS transmission. If you want to inform somebody, then we used to use a phaser, and then we used to send a text like a SMS. But nowadays, your mobile has everything. Your mobile is capable of doing everything. It is a voice recorder, it is a camera, it is a torchlight, it is everything. It can send signals, it can receive signals, it can watch movies, whatnot. So it is a mini computer nowadays. So phaser has lost its significance, but we can use low level AM transmitters in the phasers. And then similarly, short range walkie-talkies. Walkie-talkies are point-to-point communications. Police people will be using, ambulance people may be using. In the offices also, for security reasons, people may be using walkie-talkies. So in the short range walkie-talkies, low level AM transmitters can be used. Low level AM transmitters can be used. Any questions so far? For applications, anything, if you have any more clarification, I'll be happy to give you a further explanation. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next topic. Low level transmitters. Any questions? If there are none, I'll move on to the next one. So low level transmitters, here I'll give you the explanation. You can go through this. I'll share this one as I told you. Class A, Class AB, Class B are linear amplifiers. All these things I have explained. Then second part is high level modulator. High level AM modulator. High power level amplitude modulator. So power level before modulation is high. Before modulation, the power level is high. So we use Class C power amplifiers. This is the only addition. Except for this, low level and high level are block diagrams are the same. Here, before modulation, we are using a high power carrier signal. High power carrier signal. So if you want to boost the signal strength before modulation to a higher level, we need to use Class C power amplifiers. Among the three amplifiers, Class A, Class B, Class AB, and fourth one, class C. Among these power amplifiers, class C is having the highest amount of efficiency. The efficiency of class C power amplifier is, anybody? What is the efficiency of class C power amplifiers? Efficiency of class C power amplifiers. It is more than 90%. You can design power amplifiers, class C power amplifiers, 92% efficiency, 94% efficiency, 96% efficiency also. It all depends on your skill to design the power amplifiers. And class B power amplifier efficiency is 78.5. And for class A, it is less than 50%. Class A, it is less than 50%. So efficiency wise, class A will have least amount of efficiency and class C has the highest amount of efficiency. Whereas linearity is concerned, whereas this parameter linearity is concerned, among the power amplifiers, class A is the most linear power amplifier and class C is the non-linear power amplifier, where it introduces distortion on its own. It introduces a lot of distortion on its own. So you have to choose these power amplifiers properly whenever you are using them in a block diagrams like this. So here you have a RF crystal oscillator producing stable oscillations. Then that is applied to a buffer amplifier, class A or class B, and then that is applied to a class C power amplifier, which improves the signal strength, but also it introduces amount of distortion. That means the amplitudes will be changing, the amplitude fluctuations will be present. So the amplitude fluctuations are present for the carrier signal, RF signal before modulation. Then this is the same chain of AF signal processing unit, and then a buffer amplifier, class B power buffer amplifier, all these things. Then they are applied to a modulator. This modulator must be a high level modulator. High level modulator is a non-linear amplifier. Again, a non-linear device. In our syllabus, we have studied two types of AM modulators. The first one is switching modulator. Second one is square law modulator. The square law characteristic of the diode or a transistor will be used, and then you produce the modulation at the output. But here we have to use a high level modulator. So we may not be able to use our diodes, transistors, or any semiconductor devices as a modulator at high levels, because they cannot withstand this huge amount of powers. The amount of powers that are generated at the output of this class C power amplifier will be very large, maybe a few watts to hundreds of kilowatts. It ranges between few watts, 1 kilo, say 100 watts, 200 watts to kilowatts of power. That is the amount of power available. And if you apply 1 watt or 2 watts of power to a diode, 1 watt or 2 watts of power to a diode or a transistor, they may not withstand that 1 watt of power or 2 watts of power, because they are semiconductors. Their power handling capacity is very low. Their power handling capacity is small. Therefore, we cannot use your semiconductor devices as a modulator. So we will be using the uh, tube version of these devices. Transistors, tube versions, and diodes tube versions are available. They are nothing but gas-filled tubes, vacuum diodes, vacuum triodes, diodes, pentodes. All those devices we'll be using for modulation at high levels. So when you go to Ramantapur AM station, you can see these type of tube versions. They are like a glass tubes, and then you can see the modulator in the form of a tube. And if time permits, if Ramantapur people are allowing, I'll ask one of our faculty members to take you to the broadcasting station where you can see this high level modulation. This portion you can see physically also. They are nothing but tube versions. They are tube versions. So whatever high level modulation that is required is happening before modulation itself, and after modulation the signal is directly applied to an antenna. This is your high level modulation. High level modulation. Here the carrier is modulated. High power carrier is modulated, not the low power carrier. It is a high power carrier that is modulated. So this is the block diagram, and the explanation for each of these blocks is the same as I explained in the previous low level A modulator. The blocks are the same only. The sub blocks are the same. So the explanation is also the same. Wherever you find that stable RF crystal oscillator, the purpose is the same. Whether you are using it in high level or low level, the functionality will not change. The basic function of that block will remain the same. Remains the same. Any question on this high level modulator? If there are none, I'll go to the next one. Okay, high level modulation. What is the purpose? What are these things? Converts low to high frequency, all those things. And next one is comparison between low level and high level modulation. So these are the parameters for comparison. We are comparing with respect to power. We are comparing with respect to the number of amplifier stages. We are comparing with respect to the efficiency, power efficiency, and the losses. So modulation is carried out at low level, whereas the modulation is carried at high level. Then, since power is less, you need lesser number of amplifier stages. Since the amount of power is high, we will be requiring more number of stages. And then after modulation, we will be using linear amplifiers. Here, no need to use any amplifiers after modulation, because whatever power that is required, we have achieved before modulation itself. And then the power losses, here the power losses are high, whereas here the amount of power losses are low. And whenever you are dealing with high powers, cooling problem will be there. So in order to avoid the cooling problem, we will be using lubricating oils, or we will be using proper chassis, or we will be using sinks, heat sinks, proper heat sinks. Heat sink is nothing but a metal sheet. We'll apply a metal sheet against all these things, and then the metal will absorb the power, high powers for proper cooling, or we can provide fan also. So proper ventilation, all those things we'll be doing, and then we can give proper cooling. But in the case of low power amplifiers or low level amplifiers, we will not be using any of these cooling problems. So it is a severe problem. Since we are not providing solution for cooling, it is a severe problem. Here, since we have provided a solution for cooling with the proper chassis, a metal sheet, heat sink, all those things, there is no cooling problem in the case of high level. And high level amplifiers are used in TVs. All your TVs, they use high power transmitters, high power, high level modulation transmitters. Similarly, they are useful for broadcasting. Your FM broadcasting, AM broadcasting, they use always high level modulations only. Next one is FM transmitters. There are few more slides left on, and since it is already 3:02, let me stop here for today, and then I'll complete this FM transmitters. It takes hardly 10-15 minutes only. Then we'll move on to the receivers tomorrow. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock hour. And the attendance is very poor. I'm not happy. And those who are having less attendance,